Hey guys, welcome back to another Ropin Ranch tutorial. Today I am going to be recording a video to kind of show you how to get every single combination of mixed horse breed on the game. So first off, I wanted to kind of show you this location. If you go to my account and my game, you can come here to animal breeds, which is going to show you all of the different breeds on the game. So if you actually tab through here, you're gonna see all of the different ones that you can get, which are really cool, and it's really helpful. But if you're ever interested on taking a look at all of the different breeds that are offered on the game, you can definitely come and take a look at that here. So to get started, I went ahead and added 7 breeds into this pasture, which these 7 are going to be the base 7 breeds to get. All of these guys you can only get from Foundation. You can only also get the donkey from Foundation and or the sales, but from here is where you can start working with some of those mixed breeds. So I figured that we might as well start with one of the most iconic breeds, which is going to be the Thoroughbred. The Thoroughbred has a lot of different combinations. I got this girl from the wild, so she is a little skinny. I will have to work with her to get her up a little bit in weight and make sure that she is all good to breed. But in order to get a lot of the other cross horses in the game, you are going to need these foundations. Now, I always recommend that if you are planning on trying to start a lineage of crossbreeds, that you start with a purebred base breed. Because if this breed right here, if let's say it was a thoroughbred and it was a 50-50 thoroughbred, so it was 50% thoroughbred, 50% quarter horse, but it had the breed set of a thoroughbred, it would not be the best chances to continue your line with. And we'll get into that a little bit more as I breed through. So I'm going to go ahead and do some public coverings. I like doing this just because I give away some money to the people in the game by doing public coverings during my videos. So the first thing I'm going to do here is choose which breed we want to focus on first. So let's actually just go down the line here, and we're going to start with Andalusians, and we're going to make sure that we have a purebred adult. So we'll do this walnut gray. I see that we've got a lot of walnut grays lined up here. It's going to be the top GP. It's going to be the best horse out there, and we can breed these two together. We're at a Foundation 350 GP on this guy, or girl, sorry. 350 GP on this girl, so we're going to notice that we're going to have a kind of middle GP for this. So this is going to be our Andy Thor 1 is what we're going to call this, and we'll see what we got and what we rolled. So the first thing we rolled is a Spanish sport horse. So this is what's kind of funny about this matter, is that the Spanish sport horse is one of the breeds that people complain about all the time, not being able to roll the RNG, which is random number generator. When it comes to breeding and offspring, you have a 33% chance of getting the parent breed, a 33% chance of getting the other parent breed, or a 33% chance of getting a crossbreed. So the way that this would work is this was one of the numbers that it rolled, and so I got this offspring. I also had a chance of getting an Andalusian, and I also had a chance of getting a thoroughbred. So this is our little baby Andalusian or Spanish sport horse offspring. And then if we go to an adult, this right here, big, bulky Spanish sport horse. Yes, exactly. So that is actually our first roll. So now, since we actually got that the first try, we're going to take this mare and we're going to just, like I said, go down the line for the different things that we can do. And this time we're going to do the thoroughbred with the Appaloosa. So I didn't name this what I wanted to name it, but this is going to be a thoroughbred Appy 1. Now this Appaloosa sport horse is a solid Appaloosa sport horse, and the reason that it's solid is because the parent who had the Appaloosa genes did not actually pass those Appaloosa genes down to the offspring. So we have another video on like how Appaloosa genes pass down to parents, so I'm going to link that right here for you guys to take a look at. But if you go and take a look at this sire right here, you're going to notice that he only had a single LP gene. So because of that, he didn't pass that down to the offspring. There was a lower chance of that, and so therefore we got a solid Appaloosa sport horse in this case. And this is our adult. So again, a solid Appaloosa sport horse, but an Appaloosa sport horse nonetheless. So we're gonna actually take the same mare again, and this time, that was just me getting her prompt for being old. This time we're gonna breed her back to an Appaloosa again, but this time I'm gonna make sure that when I breed her, I'm going to breed her to a stallion that has more than a spotted blanket. So right now we've gotten this marking, so it's either going to be an Appaloosa or an Appaloosa sport horse, which we ended up getting the Appaloosa sport horse here because at that point in time you have about a 66% chance of getting that offspring because we guaranteed it by breeding to a horse that had the markings to actually give it and pass on to the baby. So that's going to be our baby Appaloosa sport horse with the markings. So now we've bred two different ones, and I've kind of showed you a little bit on how that works with the genetics. Our thoroughbred and an Arabian will create a Anglo-Arabian. The thoroughbred Arab 1. And let's see what we got. Wow, you know, it knows that I am the owner, and so it's being very, very good to me today. So our next one is going to be this Morgan. So this person here booked this as $444, not bad at all. A heritage Morgan, and of course I got the amazing RNG, and I got it first time, no problem. So this is our baby heritage Morgan offspring. Now heritage Morgans can have both the Appaloosa patterning and the paint patterning. It is very difficult, but it can be done to get them into a purebred breed. So the way that that's going to work is normally by getting a, in the sense of a paint marking one, you would get a purebred thoroughbred that has paint markings, and you would breed that to a Morgan. In the sense of the Appaloosa, you have literally, I think it's like a 1% chance. So on my main account, on the Red Lilac 78 account, I actually have a heritage Morgan on that account that is a Appaloosa pattern heritage Morgan that you can breed to, which I would recommend doing it that way if you wanted to get an offspring, because it literally took me like hours and days to figure out the algorithm on what was going to make that work. And then we're going to take it back to the public covering and we'll try the next one. Let's see. I did, of course I did. So this is an appendix quarter horse. I'm going to go ahead and show you what this baby looks like. So we're going to move on here and go ahead and do the Morgan next. Morgan Andy. So what do we get? I finally got a fail. So this is what a fail would look like. This came out as an Andalusian. It is 50% Andalusian and 50% Morgan. It displays the physical features of an Andalusian, but it is not purebred. So this horse is going to grow up with the base of the baby Andalusian and the adult version of an Andalusian, but it's not purebred. And I want to think about this in the sense of if your mom, or okay, that sounds kind of weird, if you have two humans that have 3 kids, so if you have a married couple that have 3 kids, those 3 kids are going to look completely different from each other. Now, some of them might look just like their mom, and some of them might look just like their dad, and some of them are going to look like a mixture. And so that's what this is you are going to get sometimes that your offspring is going to look like the adult or the parent that it is best closest to related to in just the sense of genetics. And then sometimes you're going to get that cross. So in this case, with this baby, we got a Andalusian, which is considered a cross fail. So a lot of the times players won't want these horses because they aren't purebred and they also aren't the crossbreed. And that's actually very, very symbolic in how a lot of the horses in the industry get tossed to the side when they are born with features that the owners don't necessarily want. And so they'll say, well, you know, this horse had the potential of being really, really good, but it's not what I wanted and it's not what I wanted it to look like. And they just kind of toss them, which is awful. So we're going to go ahead and breed this again. So this is going to be a Morgan Andy 2. And we also got an Andalusian. So this is exactly what I'm talking about when you have bad RNG, when you are continuously rolling that offspring that you didn't necessarily want. Now, this is when I'm gonna stop with these 2, just because I have a little surprise. A Morgan crossed with a Morgan crossed with an Andalusian is the same thing. It is a Spanish sport horse. So right here is going to be where you're going to get both of the same result from both crosses. And that is why Spanish sport horses also cannot be purebred, because they have a possibility of getting to be a Spanish sport horse by 2 different pairings, by the Morgan and the thoroughbred. Oh my gosh, I'm going to start throwing things. By the Morgan and the Andalusian, and the thoroughbred and the Andalusian. So Morgan Arab 1 is going to be our name. And let's see what we got. A Morgan. See, I knew that the RNG gods were going to eventually hate me. So in this case, we did not get our offspring. And to save time of these videos, I'm going to go ahead and just show you what some of these look like instead of me continuing them. Otherwise, we are never going to get this video through. Let's see if we can find some in the sales here. Yep, so this is a little Morab, however you want to pronounce it. They're going to be a small little base like this, very dainty, but then they also are going to be a little chunky when they get older. So there we go. So this is going to be the Morab adult. Kind of chunky, kind of reminds me of my little Opal, who is a Arabian crossed with a quarter horse. So she's a Korab, not a Morab, but she is very much a chunky girl just like this. This is one of my favorite crossovers that I've done so far. Again, no. And I'm gonna make sure that I actually get some paint markings so this would actually work. Oh my goodness, look how cute that baby is. Okay, So this is gonna be super, super cute. Please tell me I got the correct one. I did not. Okay, it was not even good RNG. So I got a paint, which is a possibility here. Kind of upset. It's okay, because this would have been a gorgeous cross. But let me go ahead and breed that mom again to the same one. Maybe we have the potential of getting something similar. Okay, so there we go. So this is hopefully, come on, cross my fingers that this is one, because again, this would be a really cute one. It is a spotted saddle horse. So I can definitely test to see if I can achieve a quarter horse Morgan offspring. This fertility is at what? 14%. I have a 14% chance of it taking. Let's see. Okay, so yes, it did take. Awesome, amazing. Let's go ahead and get this baby done so that we can move on to the next set of breeds. And I got a quarter horse, which is not what I wanted. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna find you guys a one to compare it to, because there's no way I'm gonna get that offspring again. And so a cross between a Morgan and a quarter horse is going to be the gaited stock horse. This one right here. So I know a lot of people are interested in him or them, but a lot of it's a harder breed to get started, and a lot of people don't really actually focus on this breed right now. So that's going to be the gaited stock horse. Coming back to our barn here, since we've already gone through the thoroughbred and the Morgan, I'm going to go ahead and select the quarter horse down here so that we can start working on some of the quarter horse crossbreeds. I'm doing the quarter horse just because it'll be a little easier to show you guys the different ones when I'm not dealing with the fertility and stuff with the lower ranges. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be the quarter Andalusian. So we're going to find a purebred offspring and lots and lots of walnut grays, but I want some variety. And so we're going to go ahead and choose this. I'm not going to choose the spotted blanket because the spotted blanket will give us a different additive into that normal equation. You won't get the 33, 33, 33. So you'll want to make sure that if you are trying for crossbreeds that you go with things that are going to have purebred genetics to the line as well. We got the Azteca. So this is my favorite crossbreed. This is what I typically focus on my own personal account. And so I'm gonna go ahead. This is the Azteca foal. You can get paint and Appaloosa markings on it. That's kind of what I have with mine. But it is a little bit of a struggle to keep those markings since they aren't typical on that breed. And then if we keep breeding up here, we will see the adult, which is this beautiful adult. I love the Aztecas. Aztecas are my favorite one out of all of the crosses. So we got our little Azteca. I'm gonna go back to our quarter horse, get her aged back up so that she can have another baby. And we're gonna go down to the Appaloosa. So here we have a little girl, another red roan filly, and this is a Morab. So that is exactly what I wanted. I guess my RNG is back to liking me today. But our little Morab filly is going to look like this as their foal. They kind of look deer in the headlights. It's kind of adorable. And they are a little bit chonkier as the adult. Moving on, we're going to grab our red roan mare again, age her up, we're gonna show with the paint. Same thing with the paint. A paint and a quarter horse together, if it has the markings, will go to the paint. If it does not have the markings, is going to 50-50. It's going to either be a quarter horse or it's going to be a paint with 0 markings. So moving next, I'm going to grab our Arabian. I'm gonna do the paint and the Appaloosa last. And if we age up this Arabian here, who I did check that she had fertility. Yes, I did. Okay, so if we do with our Arabian, oh, she's cute. We've got a little filly, and we got a Hispano-Arab, which I don't know if you're supposed to say Arab, Arab, Arabi. I'm not sure how it's actually pronounced, but I just say a Hispano-Arabian is another way of saying it, I think. But this is going to be our Hispano-Arabian foal, and its adult is going to be this beautiful base right here. This is one of our really popular bases. A lot of people like getting the Hispanos. Again, you can get paint and Appaloosa markings on them, so a lot of people really like them. Here we have the example of what happens when an Arabian breeds with a Appaloosa. You're going to get your Era Appaloosa. Here is an example of breeding an Arabian with a paint, and you're going to get the Pintaloosa. So here we have a steel roan Tobignano that would have had a paint parent and a Pintaloosa parent, but you can see here this is where those lines started, was the paint and the Arabian. So in this case, this is what happens when you breed a Andalusian to a Appaloosa. You will just get a Andalusian with Appaloosa markings, and you'll just get whatever that is on top of this. We have an example of what happens when you breed an Andalusian with a paint. You're going to get an Andalusian, but with the paint markings here. So we're now going to breed the Appaloosa and the paint together. And I'm gonna do a few spot for this one. See if we can guarantee the crossbreed that I'm going for here. So this time, I'm going to explain this a little bit. So this offspring here has a spotted blanket. It is an Appaloosa. And the reason that it's an Appaloosa is if we take it here to the vet and we do a genetic test, you are going to notice in its DNA that it is going to have a singular LP gene. The overo from its parent did not cross down to the offspring. Now, because of that, it doesn't have both Appaloosa and paint markings. So it only will have the Appaloosa markings, making it an Appaloosa. If we go back and we actually breed an Appaloosa this time, and this Appaloosa is going to a horse that doesn't have overo, because overo is only one copy of the gene. But in the sense of Ropin Ranch, the way that overo and the other genes work is if you cross it over to a Tobignano, you have 2 copies of the gene. And so we're going to go ahead and breed this to a Tobignano paint and see what we can get. Here's a Tobignano. And I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be the other example that I'm thinking of. Okay, let's see. Yes, it did do exactly what I thought. So now this offspring here, when we take it to the vet office, This one ended being a Tovero. It got the paint markings from the paint parent, but it didn't get the Appaloosa markings from the other parent. And so because of that, now this one is a paint. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna find us a different Appaloosa. So here I found a Appaloosa that is a leopard. This leopard should give us a higher chance of getting the crossover that I'm actually interested on getting, which is the Pintaloosa. So we're gonna go ahead and breed it to a paint, and we're gonna make sure that it is the Tobignano right here, Mr. Heartbreaker. And hopefully this should get us the foal that we're looking for. It did. So this is a foal here that has both the paint genetics and the Appaloosa genetics. And so because it has both, it turns into a Pintaloosa. So if we go ahead and genetic test it real quick, you're gonna see that it has the Tovero and the LP. Now, it is good to note that in order for a Appaloosa horse to express the Appaloosa markings, it needs to have an LP. So if it doesn't, and this horse was born with TO and then the pattern gene but no LP gene, it would not have become a Pintaloosa, and this would have been a paint. So it has to have that LP gene. So going ahead and aging it up, this is our little baby Pintaloosa. And then aging it up from here, which I need to make sure I'm giving it its hay, we have our adult Pintaloosa. So next and lastly, we have the donkey. So as most people know, the donkey can create the mule, but the donkey can also create something known as a hinny. Now, the differences between a donkey and a hinny has to do with which parent is female and which parent is male. So it depends on like which the breed of the male and female parent, because horses and donkeys have a different amount of chromosomes, so the offspring will get a different chromosome from a different parent depending on which parent is which species. So if you take a horse and you take, I'm gonna actually do a Pintaloosa as our parent here. And let's do something that I know will work. Let's do this one. So if we do a donkey and a horse, the donkey being the female and the horse being the male, this is really uncommon because in like the United States, a lot of stallions are going to be gelded. A lot of people geld their stallions. And because of that, you're not going to have a lot of stallions that are going to breed to a donkey. That's really rare. A lot of times it doesn't happen. And so because of that, this is known as a hinny. A hinny will be a baby that is bred from a donkey female and a horse male, horse stallion. A lot of the times it's something in which a, donkey isn't going to get, gelded as often as like a stallion would, because they're kind of more on the budget of a not really cared for, not really a big deal animal. And so these mules, or these hinnies in this case, is what these are going to be. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab a random female from our lovely wild, because I have so many freaking horses in our wild. At the moment we have 4,700 horses in the wild. That's a lot of horses. So I'm gonna take this horse just randomly as a chosen winner here. Can she be bred? She has a birth control treatment, of course she does. So I'm just gonna hit next real quick and hope that I get a female. I do. Okay, so I'm gonna breed this one to a donkey real quick, and that's gonna get us a mule. Now, donkeys and hinnies both have a very, very low chance on having babies. They are born with only 2% fertility, which means that they are going to have a very low chance on even being able to reproduce. And this is the same for in the wild. Normally it's even lower of a chance, but because this is a game, I have made it to where it is a little higher of a chance that a mule can reproduce. And you can always use horseshoe items if you want to increase this probability a little bit. So here we got our mule, which is super cute, and we're gonna go ahead and age him up a little bit. We got him now as an adorable adult. But I appreciate everybody for watching. It was amazing to be able to kind of teach you guys some of this, and if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask in the comments. You guys have a great day.